shadow covers me in the night. Time of Armageddon, we find peace in the light. On the golden streets, we have eternal light. Even in death, JD shine bright. Words from the Bible, techniques of survival. For the present day, Jesus, disciple, represent with your colors. You've been forgiven.
Wow, what a blessing to be here with you today, and a very good friend of mine that I've known for a very long time, who has an amazing story. As you guys know, for the last months, we've been interviewing different people with powerful stories coming out of gang life, and being now people that contribute to society, people that not just contribute and pay taxes and are now citizens of this great country of ours, but people that are changing other people's lives. And today, what you're going to hear is going to be so amazing. And I've been talking to you, also doing some lives here and there about what's happening and how gang violence is starting to pick up again. It's nowhere near yet where it was in the 80s and 90s. But if we're not careful, and if we're not the watchmen that God has called us to be, I mean, things can spiral out of control real quickly. So I want you to listen to this powerful story of my good friend and minister, Miguel Mendez, who we know as Snoopy. And I'm sorry, I know you don't go by that anymore, but I'll never forget Snoopy. You know what I'm saying? Miguel Mendez, I might forget. Yeah. But Snoopy, how I know him, if you go on my cell phone, you know, you go to Snoopy. That's how I find you.
Correct.
And everywhere. But brother, you have an incredible story that starts off in one of the countries that's seen probably the worst gang violence in all Central, Northern, and even South America, El Salvador. And can you begin there, brother, in telling us, well, go ahead and say hi to everyone first.
Hi to everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. But it's good to tell the story about how I end up here. I immigrated from El Salvador to Los Angeles, and that's where my life started. When I was 13 years old, you had to be in a gang or they put you in a gang. And I decided, no, nobody gonna put me in a gang. I'm gonna be in a gang, and I decided to be a gang member at the age of 13, and then since then I started growing up big as I became a leader, and they sent me here to Miami, Florida.
When you say they sent you here, I think this is something we really need to maybe expand a little bit on, because gangs believe, and some gangs, and I'm not sure what they call it in California, but I belonged more to the gangs from Chicago. See, most gangs either come from Chicago, you know, they were initiated in Chicago, or in Los Angeles, at least all the gangs in the United States of America. And we would call people like yourself missionaries. I'm not sure if they did that also in California. Was that the term for that?
No, they just sent me as a recruiter.
As a recruiter?
Just to recruit other kids and bring them into the gang, and then create the gang here and make it work.
Why Miami? I mean, cross country.
As
far apart as you can get from Miami to Los Angeles.
They were like they were looking to kill me, and my leader decided to send me here because it was one of the areas that need to be grow and need to be spanned by and known by our gang. And going to from Los Angeles to Miami would be a totally change of life for me, because nobody gonna be looking for me to be killed. I was gonna end up dead in Los Angeles.
Now, when you got here, we barely had anybody from California.
Correct.
Here. There's a lot more people now.
Yes.
But back then, you know, Chicano culture.
It was different.
That type of gang. I mean, I had never really seen that.
It was totally different. The mentality of what I brought here was a mentality of family. Una familia, to be together with all the bunch of kids, make them as a family, be as a brother, be as an older brother for the person, and at the same time we were like getting bigger and bigger, and that's what was the mentality of the family,
Let me ask you: when they sent you here, were you given any money at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they
gave me-
took care of you.
Yeah, they took care of me. They gave me a lot of money just to be here and set up myself here.
How long? Like, what kind of money did they give you to set up for a month, a year?
No, that time I know they gave me 10 grand.
10 grand. That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah, back then was
We're talking 92, 93.
93,
93.
and I was only 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
With 10 grand, I was like, wow.
Yeah. I didn't realize you were that young.
Yeah.
So, 16 years old. You were you were very mature for your
Correct.
age, obviously, you know?
I grew up older as when I was in Los Angeles. I was like, I was into the big adult gang. Normally they used to have a little kid gangs, Pee-wees. But when I joined into that gang, was one of the adult gang. I was like the el niño de ellos. I was the baby for them.
So you went straight into the adult gang. Yeah.
And well, the leader, I don't know, he saw something on me that he just took care of me and grabbed me and said, look, I'm going to guide you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to prepare you for a lot of things.
Yeah. And in reality, that might have saved your life because that's why he sent you here.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe his purpose wasn't good because, you know, we know how the gangs operate and they prey on little kids. You know?
can say he saved my life twice.
Twice. Okay.
Because at the end of the story, I'm going to tell you the other part.
All right. Awesome.
But when I was sent here, I was grown up already. I was prepared. That guy teach me everything as how to fight, how to defend myself, how to make money, how to do a lot of things that I was not proud. And at that time, I was proud, but not no more at this time.
Yeah, now that you're in the truth. But, you know, I guess I just really wanted to emphasize how, you know, these gangs operate, you know. A lot of people don't know how serious they are and how organized they are. And here they are sending you from California with money, right? $10,000, a 16-year-old. Number one, to escape because the enemy gangs were looking for you for some reason to kill you. I imagine it's nothing good.
No.
Not because you were such a nice guy, right?
No, I was not that.
But they're sending you here and then they want you to start a chapter here.
Correct.
And you buy into that because you get here and I don't know how soon after, but I would imagine almost immediately you start recruiting young people.
Immediately, I met one kid, and I remember I told a story to my son all the time that this was Flesh.
Yeah.
We met Flesh.
Is he still alive?
No, he died. He passed away like 5 months ago. 5 months ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I thought you told me that recently.
He passed away, and he was my right hand. But this kid, he was. I was 16. He was probably like 13 years old. Man, this kid, he was recruiting a whole bunch of kids, different age kid, and I was like, he would bring them, and then we brought Shaggy. This kid was awesome too. He was my left hand kid, and they both was like, we were like a team. We were like a family. And we were like take care of each other. And by the same time, he was bringing a lot of kids. We were like growing so big in 3 months, 4 months, we were like had like 50 kids joining the gang. They wanted to be in the gang because we were teaching them the familia. We were teaching the family. I was teaching them more like the culture of being a family, to love and respect. But at the same time, we were like, they were defending me anytime.
Which Flesh actually recruited me in a way because he was locked up in jail. This is how I meet you. Flesh is locked up in jail, and I'm visiting, and I'm inside the cell room, where the guys are at, and he was pushing and shoving with another guy, and they were about to get into a fight. And you're not supposed to do this when you're a volunteer and a pastor, but I jumped in the middle and I separated them. You're not supposed to touch the inmates, especially the youth. This was in juvenile hall.
Correct.
So I did it. I just went by my instinct and I separated them. And then I just said, the first thing that came to my head was, I said, "Where are you from?" And he goes, "Alapata." And I said, "Where's your family from?" He goes, "Cuba." I said, "What part of Cuba?" This Flesh. He goes, "Havana." And then I went to the other kid and I go, "Where are you from?" He goes, "Little Havana." And I go, "And your family?" He goes, "Cuba." I go, "What part of Cuba?" He goes, "Havana." I go, "So your family came to the United States One went to Alapata, and the other one went 5 miles down the road to Little Havana, and now you want to kill each other in jail, and you're both Cuban. Bro, their eyes lit up. Like if I had just spoken like the smartest thing they've ever heard in their life, which, now we know it's not a big deal what I'm showing them. It's what we always teach kids, right? But they were just, and he was so impressed that he told me, I need you to meet my leader.
I remember.
He says, when I get out of here, which they didn't hold him long, especially back then. 21 days was the maximum. He goes, when I get out of here, and I gave him my number, but this happens all the time. You give somebody your number, they never call you back, And so he went back to you. What did he tell you?
He told me, no, I met a pastor. Like, and what do you want me to do? No. He wanted to tell you about the word of God. Like, come on, we're not into this thing right now. We're more into what we need to do as a family and grow bigger and expand our. At that time, we already had North Miami, controlling North Miami. We're like controlling Little Havana. We was controlling Hialeah. We had South Beach. We had a lot of chapter in that moment.
Alapata was your main chapter.
Yeah, that's where it was. We were controlling. Had everything there.
You probably had over 100 kids now.
At that time, yeah.
Maybe more.
More.
Yeah.
I think we would have more because we had different chapter. Every month we would like do a get together.
A universal.
Is what
we call it. Yeah.
We would bring everybody. We used to have like a barbecue and everything, and we would get together everybody. We're talking about like they will ride different way. They will come on buses. They will come with a ride, and they will have to be there. If not, they would get a physical. If they miss the meeting, they will get a physical. They will have to be there.
Yeah. This is very organized gang activity where there's respect in the meetings. It's hard. I explain this to churches. I explain this to pastors, and I'm like, back in the days, you couldn't talk in a gang meeting. If the leader's talking, if somebody else talks, it's a beatdown. It's a violation or a physical, as you just said.
Correct.
And so sometimes making that transition for gangsters to go into church, and the kids are playing games, right? And
but you know something, I had a pastor who told me I'd rather have gang members in my congregation than regular people. I'm like, why?
Was that me?
No, that was
sounds like something I would say.
That was another pastor. This lady pastor. She like Miguel. I'd rather have gang members in my congregation that they know how to respect. They know what is family. They know what is being a brother and a sister. Right now, these people they're always chismoseando.
Yeah, listen. Gang kids, there's not everything you learn is bad. I mean, there's a reason why they exist. I always say, if you're going to counterfeit something, money, you don't make $4 bills because they don't exist. You try to counterfeit $20 bills, 50 or 100. That's how the devil operates. So they come to you with the Latino pride. They come to you with the family, right?
Correct.
They sell you on stuff that's good and that you're like, wow, this is awesome, on respect.
Correct.
And a lot of these kids are like, hey, I have to respect my leader now, but one day I'm going to be the leader.
Correct.
And one day I'm going to have that respect, And so you start respecting when in school, most of these kids had no respect for any teachers or anybody, And so interesting enough, I used to do a lot of retreats with gangsters. You probably
I went one.
Yeah, well, with the gangsters, you came already as a leader, I'm sure, because you were older. But we take the kids; they behave so good. They were amazing. The kids never gave us any trouble. Gang members.
Yeah.
And then I did my first youth retreat with regular kids from church. And I thought I was going to jump out the window.
I remember they were like escaping.
Everybody's like, the gang kids are like, why are they escaping for?
They were escaping doing things like, what
There's
is this?
food here. There's people loving on us here. Why are you going to escape? There's alligators out there. What's wrong with you, chupacabra?
I remember that time, that retreat we went.
Oh,
but
Lord.
it was, at the end, we come back and I remember Flesh came and told me and every time he was seeing me, Snoopy, you gotta meet pastor, you gotta meet this pastor, and I'm like, come on, Flesh, stop, I don't want that.
Oh, he did it several times.
Yeah, he did it several times.
Oh, wow.
He did it several times, and I'm like, no, and then finally, I tell him, look, if you really want me to meet this guy, and he was an ex-gang member. He was from
The rival.
the rival gang member. If he's a true pastor, I'm gonna tell him to come, but it's not gonna be a regular time. It's gonna be at 2:00 in the morning. You think he can come? Like, I'm gonna ask him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask him if he come at 2:00 in the morning. And okay, let him come then. Let him know where we at, and I believe he called you.
Yeah, that's what happened. So I'm a senior pastor at the time, and I have my own church called El Shaddai, and we were having a board meeting with our board, and the phone rings probably 8-9 o'clock at night, and I answer it, and it's Flesh, and he's like, "Listen, my leader wants to see you tonight," and I was like, "Well, I'm in a board meeting right now. I can't." He goes, "What time does that end?" I go, "No, maybe another hour or two. I'm not sure, but I could go after." He goes, "Oh, it doesn't matter because he said you can come at 2:00 in the morning." And I said, "Oh, perfect." To me, it was perfect. 2:00 in the morning. I'm not a regular person. So 2:00 in the morning. Then I said, "Where is it?" He goes, "Well, there's no address." This was interesting. He said, "You got to go through this alleyway. You got to turn on the street. Then you're going to be in an alley. There's an abandoned house. And you're going to see a graffiti of a huge crown." He goes, "When you see the crown, that house is abandoned, but we're going to be inside." And I was like, "Perfect. I'll be there at 2:00. And I hung up, and everybody's like, "What was that about?" And I said, No, I'm going to go meet this guy. And they were like, "What, are you insane?" My wife was like, "You got to be nuts. Like, they're going to kill you. This is definitely a setup." And I said, "I know. I think it is a setup. I know it's a setup. I know that they're probably going to try to kill me. But something powerful and incredible is going to happen. I know it inside of me." And the board actually voted that I couldn't go.
Wow.
Because the boards vote. And I said, "I don't care. I'm still going. I don't care what you vote. I'm going." My wife gave me a little bit of trouble, but I finally convinced her. And so I went. And here I am looking, 2:00 in the morning for this big crown, which, by the way, is the emblem of my enemies.
Yeah.
And when I get there, there's a few kids there. And I asked for you. You're not there.
No.
Where were you? what was going on?
I was in the room. I was in a room with
Because there's like a little house right by
I was in a room and I told him, when he came and told me, "Hey, pastor's there," like I told Flesh, "Let him wait. Let him wait there. And if I don't come out, you would have convert everybody." When I came out, you were like preaching to everybody. You were like you were sharing the gospel and singing. You were rapping.
I was rapping my testimony.
You were rapping at that time, and I like, okay, I came out and hear you, and you were like talking about God, and I remember that you wanted to pray for me. You wanted to pray for me, like, "Look, at this moment, I don't need nothing. I don't need God." I remember I told you that I had everything there. I had women. I had all the kids that would do anything, whatever I tell them, they would listen to me. Money I had, and I remember you told me, "Let me just pray for you." I said, "Okay, pray for me." And you prayed for me. You left, and everything was like it was normal. Week after, end up in jail, and I was like, they wanted to put me 30 years in jail, and I was like, wow. I don't want to do 30 years. I got to change my life.
The power of prayer doesn't always work the way one thinks.
Yeah. and when I was locked up and I was like I remember that day I was just thinking like, my life is end. What I'm going to do now? And then I remember I say, "God, if you really exist, give me an opportunity." And I don't know why when I got this lawyer, the lawyer told the judge to give me a second chance. And I remember that and the prosecutor went like, "No, he's the leader of the gang. He's the one who's supposed to be. He need 30 years." And I remember the lawyer. You guys don't have proof that he's the leader. He's not the leader. He's just the person who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Look, he doesn't look like a gang member. And I don't look like a gang member. I'm not a gang member. And I remember this. And the judge told me, "If I give you a second chance, I will not see you in my court again. I like your honor. You will not see me back in here. If not, I kill myself. And he dismissed the case. He let me go. He gave me some community hour. And finally, when I came out, I said, I got to change my life. And I remember I called my brother, my older brother. My older brother, I told him, bro, I really want to change my life. Can you help me? But my older brother, me and my brother, we used to hate each other. Us dead. Like fight and trying to like fight. I almost one time I almost killed him. But my brother had became Christian at that time. He like, are you really want to change? Like, yes, I really want to change. Okay, I'm gonna take you, I'm gonna pick you up. He picked me up, and I remember that he took me to his church, and I like at that time I pray in that church. I received Christ. I cry. I think I received like 100 times Christ. Every time they say, "Oh, come," I will go.
Yeah.
And then I told my brother, look, bro, I gotta go see that pastor that he prayed for me one time. He worked with gang members. God had called me to work with them, help them. And I remember I called you and I said, look, and at this time, my boys didn't know where I was. None of my boys they thought I was dead. I was disappeared. Nobody, even my leader, were looking for me. They're like, what happened to him? And finally, I called my leader, told him what I did, what happened. He told me, no, you can't.
Your leader's in California.
In California, you can.
It's for life.
It's for life. Like, I have to leave it. That's it. I'm tired. I don't want to live this life no more. I'm tired. I've done so many things for you. I've done so many things for the gang. That's it. Like, no, you can't do nothing. It's dead. You have to die. If I die, I die. I'm ready. I'm ready to die. And then I remember I was going to. They let a couple of months pass, and I start going to Alpha and Omega. And I start learning from the Bible.
This was before I was there.
Yeah. I was.
I didn't even know this.
No,
It's
you
crazy.
You didn't know this kind of thing.
I'm finding out right now.
And when I went to one time, when I was going to Alpha and Omega, I was learning the Bible. I was learning that Bible Institute. I was more like into warrior. I was learning a lot of the word. And they called me to have a meeting with me, an international meeting. And they want me to be there. If not, they would have come and hurt my family. And I said, I'll be there. I told them that I was going to be there, and I was there. I was there, and I got there. And I told Yesenia, look, I have to go and preach some kids, gang member.
This was in Miami, or you had to go to California?
In Miami, I told, because my leader came to Miami.
Oh.
And I told my wife, I gotta go and preach to some of the kids, but I never told her that I was not gonna come back. And I remember that we were there. We were like, all the gang member was there. They're like, they were gonna judge me and everything. They were gonna do. They was gonna vote. At the moment they were voting for me, cop came. All the cops surrounded the place. And I told her, wait, I'm here. I'm right now. I'm preaching to these kids. I'm doing this. I remember I was at that time with you. You have gave me an ID. They call South Florida Gang Outreach.
So we were connected.
Yeah,
already.
we were connected. We're still connected. We were connected already.
Okay, yeah, we were working together a little bit. Yeah. I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yeah, you gave me an ID that they call a South Florida Gang Outreach, and I told the cop, look, I work for this ministry.
That thing done saved a lot of lives.
Oh yeah.
You can ask Prof.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hey, that South Florida Gang ID was good.
It was very good. Yes.
And we were like, and I told them, like, look, I'm preaching to these kids. I never have preached nowhere. It was going to be my first time. I'm here to preach them the gospel. Where there's a bunch of gang members. I'm going to let them know. But that's not true. That's something. You guys are planning something. No. This look. I got my Bible here. I'm going to preach them. Okay, I want to hear. And they stayed there, and I started preaching. I don't know where the word came. I don't know how I preach, but a lot of my boys received Christ in that time. Even the cop, like they were surprised. Okay, you guys gotta leave then. We have to leave. You guys gotta leave. Nothing gonna happen here. But you guys gotta leave. I say, okay. We're going, and my leader said, you're not going, Snoop. I'm like, yeah, you have to ride with me. And I'm like, okay, I got you. And we were like in the car. You know what I'm doing? I'm here for, no? Yeah, I know. I got to do my job. Like, hey, I'm ready. I told him. I did my work already. I just share the gospel to a lot of kids here now, and they received Christ. I'm ready. If I had to go now, I'd go now. And he told me, I have to do it. You know that, like, you got to do what you got to do. And he pulled out the gun and put it in my face. And I say, go for it. I'm ready. I was ready. I've been living ready. I was since I received Christ, I'm ready. Ready if I go to heaven. I'm not scared to die. Before I probably was scared, but not now. Before I received Christ, I was like, everything was God. Everything is Christ for me. And if I die now, I don't have no problem. Even like 4 years ago, I had a heart attack. I was telling my wife, I'm ready. And like, what do you mean you're ready? I'm ready. I've always been ready to go to heaven.
Yeah.
And I remember that day I told him, I'm ready, bro. If you do what you got to do, listen, don't worry. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to save your life. You got to do what you got to do. And he told me, go to your family. And when I went to my family, I remember. I thank God for that. But I never knew about him no more. I don't know if they killed him because he didn't do the job. But it was hard. At this moment, he was like a dad for me. He was like a father. He teach me a lot. And everything that I know, it was from him. But I know they took his life. I know that for sure. Because never heard from him no more. And it's so hard. It's sad because before that meeting, he always called me. He always tell me what's going on. But after that meeting, he never called me back. And I know he took my place. And now I serve Christ. Wow. I do what I do.
Well, from there, and it's very powerful what you just shared with us. I imagine something happened to him spiritually right there and there when he didn't take your life, And I imagine that when he went back to California, just not because I know anything and not because I have any intel, but I know God, and I know how God operates and works, and I just feel deep inside of me, like I know you do too, that he received Christ. Whatever happened to him, I believe that he was your substitute, right? And God allowed him to
Correct.
Also have that opportunity.
Correct.
So, but from that point on, I know that we tag team.
Yeah.
And we start the Jesus Disciples.
Correct.
We really, really start reaching out to gang leaders all over the community, bringing them in, making the nation stronger and stronger. Your own kids, I remember the ones that followed you. We start holding Bible studies with them. For a little bit, they continued.
They did. They continue, and
as gangsters. Yeah.
Right now, at this moment, one of my kids that it was in the gang, he's doing really good. You know him, Tito.
Oh yeah.
Tito is really doing good, and
yes, he is.
He's the only one that I know from the gang moment. He's safe. He's working. He's doing great.
You wanted to break up the gang. You said, I'm going to break this up. But we said, they come together every week for a meeting. Why don't we preach to them before the meeting? And try to, because once you break it up, you're probably not going to hear from them anymore. So we kept it open for a little bit, maybe a month or two. And I remember specifically you coming to me and saying, listen, I got to shut this down, And then you shut it down. And I know some of them joined another gang.
Yeah.
That was like your cousin.
It was like my cousin. It was like normally at that moment they just joined, decided to go.
Yeah,
To,
the other way, some of them started coming to church with you.
correct.
And as you said, Tito was one of those that stuck around, and a few of them. But some of them is hard if you don't connect these young people to a mentor, an adult that could help them find work, and and it's just so hard.
That's the hardest thing that I always like. Some of the young kids, they don't have someone to be there for them, and they go through a lot. Some of them, they don't have a place to stay. They don't have nobody give them work because of the record.
Yeah.
And it's sad because they want to work, they want to change, but where they live, they pull them again. Their friends pull them again, and it's hard to change like that. And what they're gonna do? End up again. Remember, I don't know if you remember Ice.
Yeah.
Ice. Always.
Yeah, my eyes.
Yeah, your eyes. Your eyes.
Who could forget Ice?
Okay.
I was just talking about him today.
Ice was crazy, and he was like, one day he was doing really good, and then where he lived, we were like, they will pull him out again, and I don't know what happened with him.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him in a few years, but definitely the environment is very difficult. And one of the things that I've always done is I try to connect young people that are in gangs to a serious Christian believer, maybe that has, it doesn't have to be super successful, but that has some success that could share with him some of his skills and how he made it in life. And I'm pretty sure that happened to you. I mean, there's people that you met at Alpha, right? That I'm sure sowed into your life because you started attending there and you felt comfortable there.
I felt comfortable there. I felt like a family there, and that's why I decided to change my life, and I was into become a pastor at that time. But I remember I was praying one time, and God told me, I didn't call you to be here sitting down praying in a four walls.
Yeah,
I'll call you to go and talk to young kids and tell them about young kids and help them out. And that's why I decided to do Second Chance Youth Outreach,
which comes from the judge, right? When the judge says, "I'm going to give you a second chance."
Correct.
And so that's the name of the ministry. Tell us. So you've been doing this for a long time. I mean,
12 years.
Yeah, I was going to say 10 years or more. 12 years.
12
you've
years.
traveled. You've gone to a lot of places. You're one of those success stories of one of those young people that are basically, 13 years old, recruited by a gang, their whole life, everything they know is gang, gang membership. And, here you are, not just coming to the feet of Jesus, but helping. Actually, I'm going to say that we reduced crime in Miami. I mean, you know how many murders there were last year in Miami-Dade? 42.
Wow.
And you know how many murders there were in the 90s? Thousands. I mean, that one of the biggest turnarounds in the history of the United States of America. We had a lot to do with that.
Oh, you remember when we used to have the center of the church, gang church, like they used to call us,
the gang church, yeah.
And they would like meet different gangs there, and and they would have no
problems.
No problem.
It was no problems, and Alapata went from 16 homicides the year before we opened up to 0.
Wow.
1,000 robberies, armed robberies to 40. It was just crazy. That doesn't happen, No. We're having a lot of success here in Homestead now, and we've seen a 33% decline in violent crime.
Wow.
What we're talking about over there is it's astronomical, and that had to do, and you were one of the main people. It was really me, you, and Little Red. That we had a meeting, and we started the Jesus Disciples. It was from that meeting.
She's doing really good too.
She's doing amazing. Yeah.
Amazing time. You gotta bring her.
Yeah. She's living in Texas now. But yeah, she's doing excellent. She's a businesswoman. She married one of our kids, Eddie.
Eddie too,
who also was one of our guys. So yeah, beautiful story.
Eddie's rival was a rival of mine too.
Yeah. This was crazy. All these rivals, nobody could understand. How could they be under one roof and not kill each other? Because anywhere else, if you run into them, it was on. But they're God's turf.
Imagine Guille.
Yeah, Gia too.
Guille was
yeah,
he was terrible too.
yeah, and he was your enemy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, what God did was just incredible, you know. And what's more exciting is what God's getting ready to do, because He's still doing. So tell us a little bit about Second Chance and how, that was birthed and some of the things you've done, what your mission is with that.
Second Chance was created mostly by the mentality was to help gang member and guide them to the right direction. Our vision was to open a center, and it became harder and harder every year. And one time I decided to do an event in Alapata about back to school bash. Wanted to always give them a full book bag with a school supplies to the children so they can go to school. And I create back to school bash because as I dropped out of school, I didn't know how to read and I didn't know how to write. It was hard for me to do something because I grew up in the gang environment. I knew everything about how to deal, all kinds of stuff. But I didn't know how to read and write and do math, nothing like that. And it was hard. It was hard for me. And even my kid, I would cry with my kid because they would come and ask me, Dad, can you help me to do my homework? I'm like, I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I stopped being able to help my kids after third grade.
Yeah. It's hard. It was hard. It was hard. But that's why the back to school bash. And I remember this guy who came and approached me. He's like, Miguel, can you do something in Guatemala? I'm like, Guatemala? I never have. The only two places I've been is in Long Beach, California, and then to Miami. That was the only two places.
In Salvador, where you were born.
I was born, but I was brought up when I was 9 years old. I didn't know nothing about Salvador.
Yeah. And
I was like, Guatemala, what is that? Where is that? Finally, he told me where, and I don't know why. I do big events. I don't do this little event. No, but can you do 50 kids? Like, no. If we're gonna do something, we're gonna do 500 kids. Then I don't know what I did, what I said, and my wife told me, you say 500. Where are we gonna get 500 book bags? I don't know. God's gonna supply, and going through that, God gave us the 500 book bag, give us toys that we have collected. And the kid here in Miami didn't like it. Then it was like Dollar Tree stuff. They didn't want them here. And when I took them over there, this kid, they will cry. They will cry for a little car. They will cry for a little doll. And I saw that love that they were like receiving this book back. I said, since then, I decided to do international. And I've been going to different places. I did Guatemala twice. I did, the first time we did 500. The second time we did 700 kids. We did Cuba. That when people told me, no, you're not going to go into Cuba. I'm not going in. God is taking me in. And God took me into Cuba. I did not know nothing about Cuba, but I went to Cuba twice. One, they challenged me to go to a hospital, a government hospital in Cuba. Like, they told me, nope, no, they're not gonna let you in there. I went there. I went and I was welcome. I was welcome to come and talk to kid anytime I want. Like, see, it's only God, not me. And then we went to Peru. I never thought I was gonna go to Peru. And I was there blessing children, taking book bags, school supplies, shoes. And now we're planning next year. Next year we're planning to go back to Cuba, right? To Cuba. The 15th we're gonna take, if God's will, 100 pairs of kid shoes for different kids, and let's see what God has. It's just a miracle of God.
It's amazing what God can do,
Oh yeah.
It's it doesn't matter how deep in sin a person is. It doesn't matter the things they've done. The Bible says where sin abounds, grace abounds even more. And if any of you ever go to the hood, you're in the bad neighborhoods. There's churches in every corner.
Yeah, but something I wanted to say something too, because like I said, I grew up in the street. I didn't know nothing about how to make money,
Legal money, yeah.
legal money. And when I received Christ and I told him, God, if you really exist, I need a business. I need a family, and I need a house. And God gave me those three things that I asked him. And he gave me a wonderful wife. I've been with her almost, you married us.
Yeah, I did your wedding.
It's almost
How many years?
20 years. 28 years.
28 years.
Yeah, married with my wife, my wonderful kids.
Yeah.
And he gave us a business of a trade. And it's been a blessing to our life, because with that, I'll be able to pay my bills, my food. I have food on the table, and God has been good with
And you've been doing this for a long time.
Yes,
At least 20 years probably, right?
almost 26 years already
That you've been doing this business.
doing this business.
Wow.
After God gave it to us.
Did you use, we had a lawyer back then.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, he passed away, But did you use the lawyer to open up your corporation?
No,
One of our lawyers? No?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay.
But I was just blessed. I don't know how, because I remember this is a blessing. This is how God works. When you receive Christ, God works mysteriously. My wife was working for this person, the owner of the company. She decided not to work no more, because she was pregnant. And told, look, I'm gonna give birth soon, and I'm not gonna be able to work no more. No, but you can. I need you. You're the only one who can do this kind of business. You can know how to do this. And the person offer us to buy the business. Like, with what? We don't have no money. Like, no, you don't have to give me money. Like, okay, you pay me with work, and whatever customers I give you, you have your all the customers that I have, I'll give it to you. Mm-hmm. My job, you do it for me. I'm like, okay, and that's how you're gonna pay me. Like, yeah, but how long I'm gonna end up paying you? Just give me $2,000 for everything. Like, yeah, that's it. And God gave me that opportunity to buy that business for $2,000, and by payment. By payment.
Wow.
And I was able to grow that business, and God has given us for 26 years doing this business of drapery.
So this is what I was saying. So here you are, the only thing you know is gangs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Come at a very young age from El Salvador, and didn't know how to read and write.
Nope.
Drop out of school at a very young age, And then years later, look at what Christ does. You've been a business owner.
Yes.
For 26 years.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think it was that long. 26 years, and married to your wife for 28 years, you said, right?
Correct.
I mean, kids that are doing very well.
Thank God.
One of them's here with
is
us.
here.
He's watching how we do all this, right? Because
Correct.
This is a business that he's interested in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Amen. God bless you, my brother. But it's just incredible what God does, and you can run into people right now anywhere.
Yeah.
And no one would think that you were ever a gang member, a gang leader.
Correct.
That was sent here.
If you were like, I've been in the office of the police department, doing business with them, putting curtains in their office, talking with captains, and they didn't believe who I was. They couldn't believe, like, Miguel, you can. I can't believe that you were that person that you say, yeah, God changed my life. And we have a good friend of mine that he's a sergeant for Miami Beach Police Department, and he's always there for us. Anything we need, he's always helping us, giving us toys, giving us stuff for the organization. But I've been even talked to police officers, share the gospel to police officers. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing how God does. And
God does, it's incredible.
I tell them, before you guys used to chase me. Now I'm here talking to you guys.
You remember Officer Rick, right?
Yeah.
That we did with all the schools. Mm-hmm. He was always after me. And then here we are years later going to schools, and he's telling the story about he was always after me. It's like, this is what only God can do this. Only Jesus Christ. He's the answer. Amen.
And I just tell them, I tell kids, look, if you receive Christ, you're not gonna have to be scared, because if you if you were not scared to represent a street or a color, how come you're gonna be scared to represent Christ? That you know that where you're going is most wonderful. If you go to right now, if you in gang, you know you're gonna go to hell or you're gonna go end up in jail. If you receive Christ right now and you go to jail, you're gonna probably feel beautiful to go, because you're gonna be able to preach the gospel in there. Yeah. I was talking to a guy the other day. This man is on fire. He received Christ, and he told me, Snoop, can you pray for me, because I think I'm gonna go to jail. But I'm happy. Like, yeah, why you say that? Oh man, you don't know. I'm gonna have the opportunity to preach the gospel in there. Like, yeah, that's how the different. This is the different when you receive Christ.
Everything is different. You receive Christ, it's like what you used to see before, white. Now you see it black. What you saw black, now you see it white. It's 100% different. Christ is everything. Yeah. Your story is incredible, brother, and it's impacting. And I'm sure that a lot of people are going to be very blessed by this. And soon I'm going to do an interview, or you're going to interview me about how we met. We'll be able to talk a little bit more about maybe my side, a little bit of what was happening on my end. But if we have just the last few minutes here, you never know who's going to be listening. We target gang members. So there may be a gang member listening, or there may be a parent that's going through something, or anybody just going through anything, really, because faith is the answer to everything. No matter what you're going through. Do you want to share maybe a minute or two to them and just tell them what Christ means to you?
I just want to say that Christ means everything at this moment. In my life is, I'm not scared. I'm not scared to die. I'm not scared to anything. That I know that He's by my side on every moment that I walk. When I wake up, He's there with me. And that's going to happen to you when you receive Christ. You're not going to feel scared no more. You're not going to feel scared if you go to jail. You're not going to feel scared if you go to hospital or anything. Because you know who's your salvation is and who's your healer. And your life completely changed your life. God changed your life completely. 360 degree is completely... I didn't understand what was that, and I still don't understand how that work. Because I even go through some rough time, and during my Christ, walking with Christ, but I still love Him. I still care for Him. I say, like, sometimes He's funny. I like, you're funny because you do things for me to be mad at you, and I can't be mad at you. I need you. I love you, and that's what happened when you receive Christ. And if you're a parent, learn to live, to give your kids to Christ. He's gonna protect them. The way that He protects me, He's gonna protect any kid, and He'll be there. He's gonna have angels around protecting them. But let them be. Don't worry. The problem is giving it to them and worry. And that means you're not doing anything, because He's our Father. And as a father, He will protect. And I always tell my son this: I'll give my life for you anytime. I will put my place in front of you, no matter what. You are my son. I love you. I care for you, and I'll be there. And that's the same way that God is. He gonna be there for us anytime, any moment. Whenever we come and ask Him, He's gonna be there. Yes, sometimes He's going to be mad at us that we fail, we do this, but He still loves us. Like I told my kids, I told my son, I'm going to make, you're going to have to be disciplined, but I'm here. I love you, and I care for you. And that's the same as God.
I think when He does discipline, it's not because He's mad at us, it's because we need it, and it's for our good. And I'm sure this happened to you many times, that you had to discipline your kids because they have to learn.
Correct.
But you didn't want to do that. And you definitely don't want to see them, in pain or anything. But you know that what you're going to give them is going to be better than what they're going to get out in the world if they don't learn.
Correct.
And so I think that's how, and he did die for us. He actually did do it. He died for us. The same thing you're telling your son that you would do for him, he went and did it for us. And so, yeah, I just want to say Christ is the answer. As you can see, I think that the only reason that Miguel is here is by the love of God, by the grace of God, by the mercy of God. And we want you to know that this grace, this mercy, this love that we have been speaking to you about is real. And it doesn't matter where you are right now watching and listening to us. His love can reach you because it's far and wide and deep and high. His love never ends. It never runs out. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll be with you again with another powerful, powerful story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Red is the weather covers me in the night. Time of Armageddon, we find peace in the light. On the golden streets, we have eternal light. Even in death, JD shine bright. Words from the Bible, techniques of survival. For the present day, Jesus, disciple, represent with your colors. You've been forgiven.